Hello. We are fast approaching the festival of Pesach. I wanted to share an idea with you from Yerushalayim and from Efrat, from Araita, that represents one of the many ideas that Pesach is all about. This coming Sunday night, Jewish households everywhere will begin a frantic search for the last bit of chametz that might remain in the house. The b'dikat chametz. And there's a central ritual that leads us into Pesach. You start to wonder, what's that all about? Why are we looking for chametz on Sunday night, the eve of Pesach, when we've been going nuts for 2 or 3 weeks now, getting rid of all the chametz in the house? There isn't any chametz left. In fact, most Jewish families will find 10 pieces of bread to place around the house in order to be sure that there's chametz to find. So the whole ritual seems somewhat silly. If you look, in fact, at the prohibition against eating chametz on Pesach, it seems that we go a little overboard. First of all, from a biblical perspective, there is no other prohibited substance that we are so stringent about. Not only are we not allowed to eat chametz, but the Torah tells us, Bal Yirad, Bal Yimatzeh, you're not allowed to have chametz, hence we sell it or get rid of it. You're not allowed to be in the presence of chametz, see your chametz. Why are we so strict about chametz? And of course the rabbis only add on to this, one of those rituals being the prohibition against having chametz to such a degree that we search out every last nook and cranny. What is chametz all about? Now you might think that chametz representative of an idea, arrogance, the expanding of the soul and other things that one tries to avoid. But in fact, that would presume that chametz inherently is some sort of a negative issue, except that the rest of the year, chametz is great. In fact, on Shabbat, you're supposed to take 2 whole loaves of chametz and use them for Shabbat. 7 weeks after Pesach, we're going to have a central sacrifice called the Shtei Alechem, which is 2 whole loaves of bread that form the central ritual in the temple, in the Beit HaMikdash, for Shavuot. So chametz is great. So if chametz is great, how does it become so bad? And if it's so bad, how does it become so great again? So if you ask any 5-year-old, he'll tell you that the reason we don't eat chametz on Pesach is because when the Jews got out of Egypt, the dough didn't have time to rise. Right? And that's true. You know it's true, and I know it's true. And if you look in the Torah, in Perek Yud Bet, in the 12th chapter of Exodus, in Shemot, you'll see that it says, Terem Batzek HaMalu, they didn't have time, Lo Yachlu Lit Ma'ameh, they couldn't wait anymore to get out of Egypt. So the Torah tells us it's true, except if you take a good look at that, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. If Hashem has a year to visit 10 plagues on the Egyptians, if he can split the sea, if he can talk to the Jewish people and all sorts of other miracles, why can't he allow enough time for us to bake bread? Clearly, we were meant to get out in the last minute. In fact, the Zohar suggests that the Jews had sunk to the lowest possible level of impurity they could possibly have reached, such that if they would have stayed in Egypt any longer, they would never have gotten out. Which means that Hashem plans Yetziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus, in such a way to teach us that we needed to get out of Egypt in the last possible moment. The Titkas HaTzadik, Rav Tzadok HaKohen of Lublin, suggests that there's a lesson here. There are times in your life when you have a window of opportunity. When something comes along and you realize that you could break free of your Egypt, of the things that hold you back. Right? Mitzrayim, the same root as the word Meitzarim, the narrow straits. And when those opportunities present themselves, you have to grab them, because they don't last. And if you don't grab them when they come along, you lose them. And so therefore, not eating chametz on Pesach represents the idea that sometimes we have to let go, we have to be willing to grab the opportunity to get out of Egypt. That's what matzah represents. The difference between chametz and matzah is a moment. And if the moment passes, if you look at a piece of matzah that's baked 19 minutes instead of 18 minutes, it looks exactly the same, but it's all the difference in the world. And so chametz and matzah teaches you the value of the given moment. From Yerushalayim and Yeshivat Araita, I hope this Pesach will see all of us find those moments, grab those moments, and we look forward to sharing such moments in the coming year. I do want to reach out to the alumni and tell you we miss you, we love you. We're looking forward to seeing you. I hope you'll join us, Bezrat Hashem, in New York for the annual Memorial Day retreat in camp just outside of Nyack, New York, just outside of New York. Look forward to seeing you. Wish you a lovely, a wonderful Chag Kasher V'Sameach. Happy Pesach.